Okay, get a little housekeeping out of the way. You are going to need note-taking materials as this is a learning live. You will also need a second device and use that device to go to the turnarounddoctor.com. That's my website, and select the 74 Principles of Real Leadership tab. Will take you to that page. Scroll all the way down to the innovative section, and we will be discussing stop working, and start achieving, which is number 3. So again, note taking materials, physical or virtual, whichever one works best for you. Second device, and that device will go to the turnarounddoctor.com, the 74 Principles of Real Leadership. Scroll down to the innovative section, number 3, stop working, start achieving. Now, what we're going to do first is we're going to take 3 deep breaths. Going to inhale and exhale 3 times just to quiet the mind, to let the mind know we're getting ready to use you in an effective and efficient and powerful way. I am Dr. Donna Louise Thomas-Rodgers, daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. Welcome to your morning mental workout today. And as I mentioned, we are going to be discussing the principle of real leadership: stop working, start achieving. How did we get here? We got here through neurogenesis, nice little neurons, and then they transform into a process that's known as neuroplasticity, where they create new neural pathways. You take that concept and you combine it with the 74 principles of real leadership, as well as the theory of personal accountability, and what you arrive at is neuropability. And that is the brain's ability to wire itself to unlimited neural pathways using the 74 principles of real leadership for you to be able to hold yourself personally accountable day in and day out to achieve your best day in and day out. Where does all this amazing magic happen? It starts in the frontal lobe, in the executive function of the brain, which is also commonly referred to as the CEO of the brain. Without further ado, let's use that and all that it encompasses today. Good morning, Lola. If you haven't done so, please vote on the poll question. Stop working, start achieving. I have reviewed and given an overview of all of the 74 principles of real leadership. Should you decide that that's some information that you find value added, go to the 74 principles of real leadership playlist, scroll down to the bottom, work your way up, and you will arrive at where we currently are. And not only did I give an overview, but now I am taking the time to go through each individual principle of real leadership, and I'm also defining every word in it so that you can understand that principle in all of its totality. Today, again, as I mentioned, we are focused on stop working and start achieving. For those of you who have my book, Real Leaders Wear Pink, you have the example in there of the different word choices that you use in order for you to make that neurological transition from all I do is work, all I do is work, all I do is work. So you have to change your mindset in order for you to stop working and start achieving. With that being said, the first word in this principle is stop. So let's look at the definition of it, or listen to the definition of it. It is a cessation of movement or operation, a cessation of movement or operation. That means you're going to stop, you're going to cease to have that movement or that particular operation take place. Number 2, working. Something a person has to do. I want to reiterate that. Something a person has to do. We have to go to work. We have to do some work in order to provide a living, to provide a roof over our head, to generate revenue. So it's something that a person has to do. It's not optional. Number 3 is start. So you're going to begin or commence. It means to begin or commence. And achieving, the definition for that is successfully reaching a goal or completing something you set out to do, often through effort, skill, or perseverance. So let's look at those 2 main words in these sentences. Working and achieving. Working and achieving. So working is something a person has to do. You have to do it. It has to be done. And then achieving is successfully reaching a goal or completing something you set out to do, often through effort, skill, or perseverance. Right there, you can hear the distinction between the two. Work, I just gotta work. I have to work. I have to. So it's not sexy. It's not something that you wake up to. When I was working at McDonald's, I wasn't like, ooh, I get to go to work today. Yes. Not something that was on my agenda or my ooh, this is awesome. Yes, this is gonna be fulfilling and rewarding for me. So it's something that you have to do. That's why you have to stop thinking about it in that regard. Because as soon as you do that, it's like, ugh. But when you start to focus on successfully reaching a goal or completing something you set out to do, often through effort, skill, or perseverance, it's going to feel different. It's going to feel different when you stop working and start achieving. So, what are your thoughts? Anything, a aha moment, a revelation, a wow, that's perspective. What are your thoughts on the actual definition of stop working, start achieving? And remember, dot, dot, dot. I'm thinking, just so that I know that the chat is still working properly and I don't need to make any adjustments. Okay, that's still too hot. Too hot. Too hot, baby. Gotta run for shelter. Gotta run for shame. My shirt should be here today because I think a lot in song lyrics. Check, check. 1 2 1 2. Microphone check. 1 2. What is this? Dr. Don is talking PA and business. No, no. Are we there? Okay, Kevin. Good morning, Mr. Hook. I always felt that working was a part of the process to get to achieving or achievement. And we will get to that. We will definitely get to that because as I looked over the things yesterday, I was like, ooh, this is going to be interesting to explain that differently than or expand upon what I meant in the book because this is a short section in the book. Nola, you said I work. Is that it? Yeah, it's 1 page in the book. Stop working, start achieving. And it doesn't even have an exercise to it. Yes, that's what I thought. Okay. And we are going to get into that. And so that's why I wanted to give the context, the definition of it, and then we lead into this next question. And what I would like to say is I really like ChatGPT. I'm coming around to the use of it. It should be almost at 30 days. And I like Grok as well. And the reason why is because I can ask these very specific targeted questions and I get very specific targeted answers. When I'm doing a Google search, I get what's available to Google and it has to be backed by something on Reddit or something that somebody wrote a blog about. But Chat GPT just says, this is the question and would you like follow up? And so it's a very I feel like it's a great user interface and I'm having an interaction and it's customized for the questions that I'm asking specifically. And I've even gone so far as to search the question on Google, on Chat GPT and Grok as well to see if I will get the same answers. And I don't even get the same answers on the platforms, which I find is interesting as well. And then if you do your deep search, your deep research, it takes longer. But man, the amount of information that shows up, especially if you're doing something like research, like myself, you have school projects. Now, you're not plagiarizing, but imagine back in the day, Kevin, you and I and Lola, we used to have to go to the library and sit with all them damn books on the table. And heavens to Betsy if it was on microfiche, because you just doing like this, trying to hurry up and find it. And now you have the ability to have this information at your fingertips. I think it's amazing. So if you need to do some research, I suggest trying Chat GPT or Grok on Twitter. And I'm not paying for any of them yet. Grok, you can do 10 searches every 2 hours, and Chat GPT is 5 every 5 hours. But if you finagle it enough both ways, then you can definitely get the amount of information that you need. But it does have value. And I think if you go up on chat to the next level, it's like $20 a month. And I think you get like 1,000 searches or something, some crazy number. But then for coders, because even coders use it, and they pay $1,000 a month or some $200 a month, and then it's unlimited. But they need all that information to write code. I don't use it in that length or capacity. I don't need that much information. Very effective. Just a side note. And again, I'm not an affiliate of any of it at all. I'm just telling you, if you're trying to learn something specifically and you can't Google it, Bing it, Yahoo it, go switch to one of those two platforms. You can download the app. You do have to have an X account in order to use Grok. But Chat GPT, everybody's got a Gmail at this point. You just use that and you're good to go. Okay, coming back. What's the difference between working and achieving? Nola, I'm glad you asked that question. What's the difference between working and achieving? Because Kevin, as you indicated, working has been a part of the process to get to achieving or achievement. And Nola, you said, I work. So the difference between working and achieving lies in processes versus outcome. Process versus outcome. So working is the process, putting in effort, time and energy toward a task, a goal, or duty. So working is the process. It's putting in effort, time, and energy toward a task, goal, or duty. Now here is the most important, muy importante. It doesn't guarantee results, but shows commitment and persistence. So it doesn't guarantee results. What it shows is that you are committed and that you are persistent. Achieving is the outcome, reaching a goal or completing something successfully. So it reflects the results or rewards of the work done efficiently and effectively. So in short, working is doing and achieving is getting it done. Working is doing and achieving is getting it done. Now, you can work hard and still not achieve if the effort isn't effective. You can work hard and still not achieve if effort isn't effective. I know y'all saying, Dr. Donald, this shit still sounds the same. Hold on, I'm getting to my point. But you can achieve without doing some kind of work directly or indirectly. So here's what this boils down to. I worked at McDonald's. I went there, I worked hard, and for $3.35 an hour, they gave me a paycheck. Couldn't work more than 20 hours a week because I was a student. Now, when I was in the Army, I achieved so many more things. I was a second lieutenant, a first lieutenant, a captain. I got a bunch of training going on and had a bunch of positions and leadership positions at Frito-Lay. I started out as the second shift manager. Then that was in manufacturing. Then I moved to the warehouse, moved to traffic. I moved to sales operation. I was a farm. I was a ZOM. I was a CIMT, a PBT, a Move Smart trainer on some national DOT teams, some CIMT teams, and all of that. So I was achieving through the work that I was doing. McDonald's, all I did was work. Work. That was it. I got it done. There was no results. There was no promotions. It was a pay. I went in, I got a paycheck. I took my happy little teenage self home. But the achieving, so how motivated was I to go to McDonald's for $3.35 an hour Saturday and Sunday standing on my feet, taking the same orders? Again, the menu didn't change while I was there, day in and day out. That was work. And then I moved on to achieving. So when you are working, you are just getting it done. It is doing. It is not getting a result other than the work. If you pack chips in a box, boom. Pack chips in a box, boom. I pack chips in a box, boom. There is no achievement to it. It is, I got it done, and it's done. Clock out and go home. That is the difference in it. So if you go back to the definition, work, something a person has to do. I have to do that. But achieving is successfully reaching a goal and completing something you set out to do through effort, skill, or perseverance. And while working at McDonald's, yes, you could say that was a skill. I could be a cashier. It's not really a skill that I can transfer over and over and over. I don't really talk about my McDonald's days. I talk about me saying, hey, being a cashier ain't enough for me. I'm gonna need to learn how to do this grill. I'm gonna go ahead and make these salads. I'm going to be able to do this shake machine, this Sunday machine, and do all of that because that is an actual full totality. I want to understand how this store works. So I was achieving more than my two cousins that worked there, and one just worked the grill, the other one was a cashier for the drive-through, and that was it. So I started working there, but then I started achieving more because I'm saying, how does this work? How does that work? Because I need a goal. I need to be able to say I left, and here's all the things that I learned. Here's everything that I know about McDonald's and fast food. Most people don't do that. Don't be most people. Most people go to work, do their job, come home, complain about it, and then say I'm gonna get something else to do, and then they never do. And they stay at that in that industry, in that thing, and they're not achieving anything. Nothing at all. Bare bones minimum. So what questions do you have about what's the difference between working and achieving? And I'd like to have a discussion if that's possible. So if it's clear for you, even if it's clear for you. Again, my two favorite students, dot, dot, dot. I'm thinking. Thank you, Lola. As you have said, it's clear. If y'all hear my stomach growling, I'm actually not hungry, but since my surgery, it just likes to process food at a loud pace. And no matter what, I could be sitting in a meeting. Like, I used to do it in Frito-Lay a lot. It's like, that's me, but I'm not hungry. But we just ate lunch. How are you hungry? I'm not. It makes sense. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, so give me something to discuss, my amazing offspring. There should be some type of time frame attached to achieving. Why is that, Kevin? Or give me a further say what you're saying before I say why is that, because I might be misinterpreting what you're saying. Working is work. Achieving makes work more enjoyable. Yes, ma'am, that's in the book. And it makes it something that you actually want to get up, wake up and do. What I will say while you all are, Kevin is clarifying what he's saying is this: unaccountable people are lazy and they don't like to work. I'm gonna put that out there. So if there's any unaccountable people watching, uh, you're lazy. And y'all want something for nothing. Y'all want a lot of money for a little bit of effort, or a bunch of money for no effort at all. So you can sit on your ass and talk about how much the shit you are. And you don't have to do all that. I ain't got to do all that because I'm smart. I'm an entrepreneur. I got people to do that shit for me. I got a job. My mother used to say, I sit on my ass all day. I don't do nothing. I make good money. Sit on my ass doing nothing. So unaccountable people are lazy as shit. And y'all think y'all doing something grand, but you're not, because all you're doing is atrophying your working memory. So when you actually need your brain to accomplish something and make decisions and problem solves and live life day to day, day in and day out, you can't do it because you lazy. As 4 people dropped off. Poor people dropped off. Yeah. So it's lazy. So that's why there's this whole negative. Oh God, I gotta work. And we say all the time, dirty hands, clean money. Oh, you got to do physical labor. No, 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 no. I'm just pretty. I just sit here. I look cute. Yeah, yeah. I just use my brain. I just use my brain. No, you don't. No, you don't. Let's see what this comment is for review. Oh, I made David Lopez mad. I'm gonna show this y'all so I can tell. Let's. I don't know if David Lopez is on here or not, but I pissed David off. So let's see if it. Can y'all see David's comment? Let me know if y'all can see David's comment. That's funny. He's not here anymore. Let me know, Nola, if you can see David's comment. If not, I will say what it is, Mr. Lopez. Kevin said, I guess achieving is a broad title like that of success. If I was on a job 15 years and I achieved seniority, is that really an achievement? Just thinking. Actually, no, it is not. It is what happens if you stay on the job. David is mad. Yes, you saw it. Okay, cool. David, if you're still here, basically, if you didn't chicken shit out and leave, what are you basing that on? That you're saying I'm lazy as shit. I'd like to understand your thought process behind that, having never met me before, just scrolling through. So, David, if you're still here, enlighten the group to tell the group why, especially for the replay. Tell the group why Dr. Donna is lazy as shit. So to go back to your that shit is funny as hell. I'm sorry. Okay, I gotta get all right. Amygdala hijack. Mission accomplished. Okay, so Kevin, yes, if you just, and that was the whole point that people would tell me at Frito Lay, I got seniority, Dr. Donna, not Dr. Donna, I got seniority. Everybody wants to talk about just having made it through. And one thing that I would like to say is when I was a second lieutenant in the Army and I would see the colonels and the generals, I was like, oh my God, I just want to be a colonel, I want to be a general. And then now that I have found out that one of my classmates in ROTC is a major general, I realized there's very few people left at that point. And so at that point, everybody's kind of retired, said, I'm done. Most people got out within 10 years. And so it's who's left. When I saw the group that I was in the Army with, and I literally saw them make it to light colonel and general, I was like, oh, that's how they got there. Yes, and he is the person, my classmate is infantry. So EIBs, tabbed out, special forces, ranger, jump master, all that shit. I was like, now everything makes sense. So to your point, Kevin, if you've been there the longest, no, that isn't the thing. My stepfather and my mother both worked in their jobs. He was on the line until his last 7 years, and then he became the benefits rep so he could put his little woo 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 on. And my mother got into the intern program, took 18 months, crack hiatus, came on back, and then she just got promoted automatically, those step increases in promotions because of the program that she was in. And that was that. And so she talks about how by the time she retired, she was making $45 an hour. Sometimes she would work after and pull some cable, just do some overtime, but not really. And she just had her little outfits and pulling up in her little car and everything. And that was that. And she really didn't do a lot and typed and did some video conference calls, held a couple contracts, and that was it. And talked all day and was on the internet and read the USA Today, came on home and then watched some TV. So she worked and she retired and she receives a great retirement from the government, and so does he. He's a veteran, so they're bringing in a lot of money for retired people who just had basic jobs, but that's not achieving. That's actually working. So achieving, as I mentioned in the definition, is this skills, perseverance, and effort. Yes, thank you, GZ88. Yes, I'll address the service portion later if I remember. So it's what you set out to do through effort, skill, or perseverance. So my stepfather worked at Chrysler for 38 years, didn't know anything about computers, and now he's trying to do when we were in contact with him. Thank God for no contact. But anyway, every time it was time to do something on computer, someone had to show him what to do, because for 38 years, he said, you don't need computers, you don't need smartphones, you don't need all that. And then the world changed, and then he didn't have anything that he could achieve from a technology perspective, but he wanted to be able to use all of this technology. And so what happens is when you don't focus on achievement, which is skill development and learning and having knowledge that you can apply, and all you do is work, all you know how to do is that work. That's it. If I had to stay at McDonald's, all I would know how to do is give you your Big Mac, your fries, your Big Mac filet of fish, quarter pound of French fries, icy Coke, thick shake, sundaes, and apple pies. That's all I would be able to do is give you that. People who teach elementary school, you know how to teach. When it's time to do the other stuff, then all you do is I was a first grade teacher for 30 years, then that's all you know. I was a mail carrier for 30 years, that's all you know. And then you start asking other questions, and so that's work. Something that you had to do, and that's it. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't take work to achieve, but it is targeted, it is strategic, it is on purpose to achieve. So you're working to achieve. You're not doing work because you have to. That is the difference. So stop working. Stop working. I have to do this. Because if you have to do it, that's all you're going to do. But when you say, I am working towards, I am working in my business, I am working to develop research for people to use their brains on a daily basis so they can seek out best day in and day out. That's something that you can wake up to. That gives you the ability to grow, learn, and flourish. But when you just work, you end up in a stuck melee with your skins in your comfort zone. That's what happens. And now you're stuck in a rut and you can't get your big ass up. That's what happens to you. That's it. You got a big ass and a little brain and a big belly. You got a booty do. Booty stick out more, but belly. Booty, yeah, your belly stick out more than your booty do. That's what's happening. So you have all this extra fluffification going on, and now you want to make it seem like that's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay for your brain to be atrophied and your ass to be amplified. That's not a good thing for nobody. It's not good for your health. It's not good for your mental health or nothing. But I worked. Everybody want to retire. I worked for 30 years, and that's all your ass did. That's all you did. And now you want to sit on your ass because you're tired. From what exactly? Mentally going to a place that wasn't stimulating, that didn't help you grow, learn, or develop, but that was your choice. I guarantee you, there are people at Frito-Lay with 30-something, 40-something years, and if you sat us down and we talked about the business model and everything else, you would think I was the one with 40-something years. I figured that shit out in the first 5 years and was just mastering it after that. I didn't need to stay, but I understand it. There are people at that company that don't understand why Herman Lay and C.E. Doolin merged together to make Frito-Lay and what that was about. And that Lay was already in business, and C.E. Doolin bought the matzah and the corn from somebody that was going back to Mexico for $150. That's not something that every employee at Frito-Lay knows, especially not the higher ups, because the presidents come from other companies, salespeople. And now they're just there looking at the stock prices, making sure that we got double-digit profits in Wall Street and we got 60 to 80% market share in all of the stores, convenience and vending machines, as well as those big bulk stores, Walmart and Albertsons in the grocery store. And they even know who the competitors are, the regional competitors, and then that's it. And how do we get new ideas and concepts? And how do we get Limon and Flamin' Hot and Ketchup Lays that came from Canada, regional, and then all of the global stuff. And I've been gone here in June 15 years. So my point is, I was achieving at Frito-Lay. I know how to take raw materials and turn it into finished goods and sell it in the marketplace. I can tell that the variety of the potatoes at Frito-Lay has changed, and the store brand chips from the Kroger/Smith's are what the variety of potatoes used to be at Frito-Lay, because I just bought a bag of Kroger brand chips 15 years later, and really 24 years later, because I was achieving. I can tell when there's too many toast points on a nacho Dorito or another chip that's supposed to be a nacho Dorito if there's uneven seasoning accumulation, if the end seal, the back seal are not correct because of how the bag came off of the bag maker. I can understand a way hopper and why this bag has more chips in it than that one if there's not enough nitrogen in the bag for the chips. Why? Because I was achieving. When Nola and I are driving and we see a Peterbilt, we're like, man, that's a fact. That tractor's on it. And now that they've done these cab overs with these electric vehicles, they're like, why do we do that? Why do we do that on the bulk trucks? People don't know that. I load the truck, I leave. I get my check and I go home. But we was all at the same organization. Point blank period. Achieving versus accomplishing. And Lola, you said in school, the teacher used to ask, what do you want to be for the next 50 years? Now, and then did that, then what? Exactly. Now what? And that's why the book, The 100 Years Life, is so important, because people are living longer, because that whole notion of education, work, retirement, and die is no longer a good option for people. That's why you have people that are my age, celebrities, going back to do the shit that they was doing in the 90s. I just saw that Kamora Lee Simmons is about to do Life in the Fab Lane 2.0. It's something to that effect. It's coming out in December, and she's getting ready to show her and her 5 children doing fabulous stuff. She just turned 50 on May 4th. I follow her because she's a tourist, so we're close in age. I used to watch Life in the Fab Lane, and I'm looking at what I was doing when Life in the Fab Lane was on versus now. And it's not, I'm not doing what I was doing when it was on the first time. She is. People, I'm gonna go on tour. I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go back to doing this. I'm not going back to Frito-Lay. I'm not, hey, y'all still need me to be a Zom somewhere? No, because I mastered that. Because I'm off that and I'm on to something else, and I need to achieve and I need to accomplish something new, because that part is over. To quote Barbara Walters, I did that already. But when you can't, because all you know how to do is work, and you only know how to do that work, and you don't have the working memory, and you don't want the cognitive overload to learn how to do something new, you go back and do what you do. That's what you do. I know how to do that. It is nothing for me to, if I needed to go talk and give a 3-hour lecture on something that I've already done, I could do that in my sleep. I ain't even got to prepare. Who's the group? Who we talking to? What's the topic? Bet. No problem, mate. That's why I'm studying the brain. That's why I go to appointments with my daughter, because I don't know how to do none of that shit. None of it. I told you, I didn't know what drywall was. I was like, drywall? What? My brain's like, how was the wall dry? Then finally, I came out of the bathroom at Home Depot and saw the sheets. I was like, oh, that's what it is. Got it. Makes perfect sense. So yes, you need to be achieving. And by the time you get our age, once you over 50, you need to be working on your personal legend. Read the book, The Alchemist, if you want to know what that is. So you should be planting trees for shade under which you will never sit. At no point should you be refining and defining shit you already mastered. And I'm going to teach new people how to do it. No, that's not how that goes. That's not how that goes. You got to learn something else. You have to master something else. And so you have to achieve something different. Working and doing the exact same thing for 30, 40, 50 years. Guess what happens? The brain, like, we already know how to do that. I ain't sending you shit over there. I ain't sending you no neurotransmitters. I'm not sending you no neural pathways, nothing. You already know how to do that. We're going to take a break. Oh, wait, you learned something new. Hold on. Hey, executive function. Wake the fuck up. We got some new information. Huh? Yeah, new information. Okay, cool. New neural pathway. Got it. Yeah. Wait. Huh? Oh, what? We're going to use the working memory. Whew. All right. What you want to know? Welcome to your executive function. What is it that you want? You reading, going all the way back with the to the what's the name? Occipital lobe. Hey, wake up! We reading. What the hell? What the hell? Brain like, what the fuck is going on here? 30 years and you trying to learn something? Hold up, wait, we gotta stretch. You gonna have to start with the alphabet. You can't just be reading all willy-nilly. We do new words. What the hell is this? The lexicon is like, I quit. Working memory said, I thought we retired. That's why you don't retire. So the working memory can't retire too. If you retire 15 years and now you trying to shake that thing up, it's not going to work. So working is part of achieving. But unaccountable people may work hard because they're lazy, because they don't want to do it. They want to be comfortable. That's why they just want to go to work. I just want to go to work, do my job, and go home. Bad job, gossip, talk about people. Get me a nice little manufactured dopamine boost and go to sleep and wake up again and talk shit again. Do the same thing again. Then again. The world is changing. It was better when we were younger. No, it wasn't. It was not. It's been the fucking same. Be quiet. So anyway, I know I went off on a whole tangent, but the point is work is part of achieving. And it's not just, I'm going to just work. Okay, and then what? I worked at that place for 30 years. I've been in the industry for 50 years. Doing what? You ain't changed shit. Ain't nobody, doggone Ella Fitzgerald invented scatting. Ain't nobody even invented nothing. Nobody even have a new way of the thing. Everybody just doing the thing that was already here. You ain't, the Steve Jobs said make it better, make it cheaper. You see what I'm saying? You're just gonna sing the same songs. People, so many people going on tour. If you was in a coma and woke up, you think you was back in 1997 with the stuff that's on TV and everywhere else. You would just be like, "Oh, it's 1997. Damn, I must not have been asleep that long." Like what? 32 years? How the hell? Why is all this? What the hell is all this on TV? The same stuff. We got to reboot. We got to reboot because can't nobody figure out something new to do, and nobody thought that all these people would be living this long. Nobody thought it. Everybody out there, doggone Millennium Tour, everybody out there overweight and everything else looking like old geriatric version of themselves, and ain't none of them 50. How is that possible? Because you just can't think. And remember, the working memory starts to deteriorate at 35. You got that good sweet spot, 10 years. You get your frontal lobe at 25, and by 35, the working memory is saying, yeah, we kind of tired now. So you only get 10 good years before you actively have to start doing something neurologically to change that situation. So no, work is not enough. It isn't. Work is to get you to accomplishing. So if all you're going to do is say, all I do is work, 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 stop saying that. Start achieving. So work is part of achieving. It's not the end all, it's part of an outcome. If you decide all you're going to do is work, that's all you're going to do. And ain't nothing going to work out. Your ass is sitting somewhere not, damn, no, nothing ever work out for me because you stopped at step one. Work. That's not enough. That's part of a system called achieving. It's step one. If you decide you're going to make a meal and all you do is go buy the ingredients, yeah, this shit don't work. I bought all these ingredients and I ain't got no sweet potato pie because there's some other steps to it. Go to the store, get the ingredients and come home is not, that's step one. You didn't even put the pots up and now you're mad. Yeah, see, that sweet potato pie shit don't work. Yes, it does. You got to finish the steps. You have to finish the steps. It's part of it. It's part of it. You can't get to achievement if you just work. You can't. If you just work, if I just went to Frito-Lay on second shift and did my job, there is no supply chain optimization. There is no me becoming a CIMT. There is no me becoming Move Smart certified. There is no me becoming a PBT, DOT trainer, nothing. So all that information that I have, I don't have because I'm like, okay, let me go do my second wall, my third wall for the day. All right, we got nachos, Doritos, what we're running today, and that's it. And then I come home. There is no Dr. Donna. There is no divorce, so there is no Dr. Donna, so there is no Real Leaders Wear Pink, so there is no 74 Principles of Real Leadership. There is no Neuropability. There is no me quitting, moving to Las Vegas. All that shit is gone because all I did was go to work. I'd have 24 years at Frito-Lay right now if I had stayed. And nothing, there is no 11,400 YouTube videos. There is no 15,600 Instagram posts. There is no lunchtime talkers. There is no other club that I charted. There's none of that. There is no people doing business in 4 continents because I was a strategic advisor for Urban Chamber. None of that is there because all I would have did was work. That's all. There is no 11 years of reading a book a week. Gone. Nothing. I would still be at a doggone Baptist church married to Thomas-Rodgers and Nola would be in some college somewhere. That would be it. That would be my life if all I did was decide to work. So stop working. Stop doing that shit. Stop. Because the world needs whatever the hell it is that you came here to do, but you working. You working. And it ain't working. And your working memory stopped working if you over 35. And if you over 65, it is unemployed or retired. That's what's happening. It's neurological. So stop working and start achieving. Now, how can you achieve instead of just working? Thank you for that question, Kevin. So to achieve instead of just working, you need to be intentional and strategic. You need to be intentional and strategic. When I took that position at Frito-Lay, I did not want to be bothered with the military, the criminal justice system, or anything else anymore. I'm like chips on the truck. Ain't nobody gonna die from it unless they eat too much. Little did I know that 9 years and 2 months later, my ass would be in the hospital about to die. From some damn chips on the truck with panic attacks and stress induced everything. 37 years old in emergency room on portable oxygen and EKG machine. I did not know that was going to take place. However, at the time, it sounded like I was strategic about it. I'm going to go here, live in sunny Orlando, Florida. I hate the fucking winter, so I'm not going back to Michigan. Let me find out how this situation is going to work. And so I was intentional and strategic. And plus, at the time, I liked the products. So when you are intentional and strategic, step one, you got to set clear goals. Going to work to get a paycheck because you have to is a dumbass plan. And that's all you're going to get out of it. I'm just here for the money. I'm just here to I just come here, I do my job half-ass. I do my job and I just go home. I'm just here for the paycheck. They stop paying me, I'm going to stop coming. Okay? Maybe you should find a different industry to be in. So you got to set clear goals. Define what you want to achieve. That's up to you. If you just want to go to work just so you can get a paycheck, then your life is going to be pretty mundane and boring. But then you want to turn up afterwards and go tie one on and all of that. But you're the one who picked this horrible thing that you don't want to do. Now, granted, I am on LinkedIn right now and I am just looking at the job descriptions. And the job descriptions fucking suck. Because what I realize now that I'm looking at them is that the organizations pick all the work that nobody is currently doing and nobody wants to do, and they put it and roll it up into a shit show thing called a job description, and then they put that online, and now you got to go, well, do I feel like doing that? Do I feel like doing that? So corporations are complete. They are part of the problem too. The work isn't sexy, but it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have, then they get Chat GPT and everything else to write the job description. You get them to write your resume. Y'all get their lie, and then you start working. And now that shit sucks. But y'all both lied to each other. Jobs and job descriptions ain't nothing but online dating. And everybody getting catfished. And now you're mad. Well, they said they could do this and they could do that and they can't. Because everybody lying. Just tell the truth. And why am I saying this? Because when I worked at Frito-Lay and I had to hire people directly because I was in a position to do that, I told people on day one when they came in to take the select test, I said, this job fucking sucks. I didn't say fucking, but I said sucks. I said, if it's hot out, you're going to be working in a warehouse. And whatever the temperature is outside, that's the temperature in the warehouse. If it's hot as hell, it's going to be hot in there. If it's cold as hell, it's going to be cold in there. You're going to be working 8 to 10, sometimes 12 hours a day. Sometimes you're going to be working 6 days a week. Because what you don't realize is how many fucking chip holidays there actually are associated with this job. You're not getting Good Friday off. We got set holidays and that's it. We got double pick days. Super Bowl Sunday is not a holiday. Your ass is going to be working on Super Bowl Sunday. You're going to be working and working and working. We are a 7-day-a-week operation with a 6-day pick. You are going to be going around in a circle. We got 3 different radios, but you're going to be walking around in a circle, pulling anywhere from 1 to 4 carts. You're going to be picking to the point where your wrists are going to be burning. This job sucks, but it's $15.50 an hour. You work 90 days, you get part-time, permanent part-time. You can work your way up to full-time. You can go anywhere in the company. Let's go do a warehouse tour and then come back. Here go the select test. But before you start, if you've been using drugs for the last 90 days, because we do a hair test, don't do it. If you're a felon, get your ass out of here now because it's not going to work. And I did that every time I hired people. So nobody wasn't going to come up to me later, Donna, you lied to me. You told me. No, I told you this motherfucking job sucked. I told you that. Don't be shocked by it. But corporations can't be honest enough to say that. If they were, then people be like, I respect your honesty. Okay, cool. Can I take the cons to this job too? Bet. But people don't do that. Everybody lies and then everybody mad. You lied on your resume, they lied on the application, they lied on the job description, and now your job sucks. And y'all hate each other. Don't lie, tell the truth. Tell the truth. So set clear goals. Define what you want to achieve. And for me, it was I want to learn everything about supply chain optimization, from raw materials to finished goods to selling them in the marketplace. That was my objective. Just like when I worked at McDonald's way back in 1990, how does this restaurant work? From start to finish, what happens day in? Good morning, Sabrina. Day in and day out. And then you want to be specific. Be specific. Finish school in 4 years. Find out how raw materials are turned into finished goods and how you sell them in the marketplace. Because if you're just going to work, you don't care. You don't care about quality and you don't care about customer service. You don't care about why extruded is not working, why we have to shut the whole plant down when everybody love Flaming Hots. Guess what? They got to run that shit on the weekend. You actually got to wear a respirator mask when you run in Flaming Hots, and all that Flaming Hot season and everything permeates the whole plant. So you run a skeleton crew in order to get that Flaming Hot to the marketplace. That's how potent it is and pungent it actually is. And you didn't know that. You think those brown spots on the chips is burnt? That's too much sugar inside of it. And the OptiSorter to kick the chip out is set too high because it probably got a wet breakdown load. They ain't have enough potatoes to meet it. So they turn the OptiSorter up, and that's how you end up with burnt chips in your bag. You probably didn't know that. And I still remember that from 2001 because I went there achieving and not just looking for a paycheck and a promotion. as a lot of people are currently doing today. I actually cared. I would go to the store, buy a chip, and if the bag or some shit was fucked up, I'm coming back to work. Listen, I'm going, because I used to be able to know what that number was on the bag. I could tell you that it's the date it was made, the person, the line, the manufacturing plant, the shift, all that shit. I'd be at third shift. I just bought this at the CVS on Orange Blossom Trail. What the fuck is going on with this end seal and this back seal when I was the shift manager? What's wrong with you? Look, why didn't you catch this? Why didn't the senior PMO catch this? So I was serious about it. Achieving, because you messing with my doggone vested and stock prices with that. You can't be selling shit in the marketplace. We dealing with Snyder pretzels and everything else with competition. Wise potatoes, y'all done lost your damn mind. Now y'all probably think that was a bit extreme, but I was vested. I was invested and vested. Set clear goals. Number 2, work with a purpose. With a purpose. And if your purpose is I have to, that's not going to be enough. Have to ain't enough. Have to is not going to get you to your next level. Have to is I have to because I got a mortgage payment. It's not a big enough reason. It's not. It's you just going to be in there half-ass doing it. You're going to be Chris Henry and the shit out of that. It's going to be at 70%. So don't just stay busy. Focus on tasks that directly lead to your goal. If you are going to college and you say you're going to finish in 4 years, finish in 4 years. Don't focus on that. People left college. People laughed at me because I moved into the dorm with no meal plan to save on money. They was like, you still live in the dorm? What the hell you live in the dorm? You need an apartment. I said, you motherfuckers going to be in college for 90 years trying to pay for that car and that apartment. I got a crazy mama. She said 4 years. I got to get out of here in 4 years. So I'm going to shut the fuck up, eat this rice, this ramen noodles, and this cereal, and I'm going to get on out of here. And I went to Michigan State for my freshman year, went to Eastern for the next 3 years. And it was a guy when I got to Eastern, I can't remember his name. I see his face right now, but he was a junior. He was a dentist. And then I got ready. We was leaving the dorm. I was clearing out my room because it was time to go home. And I was like, all right, man, take care. And he was like, yeah, I see you in the fall. I said, you ain't gonna see me in the fall. I graduated. He was like, you graduated? You got here after me. I said, yeah, I did. you tripping. I was like, and then people used to think because I was cracking jokes, I used to be in the eateries hamming it up. They thought I was stupid. I was like, I'm here. My ROTC scholarship is an academic scholarship. I'm not dumb. I just like having fun. I'm out of this motherfucker. I got to go be an officer in the Army. Couldn't believe it. So don't just be busy. Don't just be like, yeah, I'm just here to be here. No, you got to ask yourself when you're working with a purpose, is this moving me closer to what I want? And moving on campus and getting a car and getting a bunch of credit cards and buying a bunch of clothes and shit. I had the same fucking clothes. When I had some money, I would get some damn socks and that was it. And now I got to get out of here. I said it. My money is tied up in investments and I'm on to bigger and better things. Sabrina, you said arriving late, but when you hear complaints or experience failure, then you start rewiring the process to stop the complaints and improvements and to rework the process. Yes, ma'am. So number 2 is work with a purpose. Don't just be doing busy work. Ask yourself, is this moving me closer to what I want? Number 3 is measure progress. So to Kevin, to your point, 15 years at the job because you got seniority, that's not enough. That's not progress. That's just checking the box. So you got to track results and not just time or effort. You can't just track the time. I've been here 50 years. I got 47 years up in the plant. Nobody give a fuck about that. So it's called effort bias. And I don't know, we've called it something, it's referred to as something else. We did it months ago, but it is effort bias. And so effort bias is the tendency to judge the quality or value of something based on how much effort was put into it, even if the result wasn't actually better. So effort bias is more effort equals better outcome. So we'll use this example. Let's say you buy a chair from IKEA, and it takes you 3.5 hours to put the chair together, and it's together, but can't nobody sit in it. And so you are so proud of that chair, you display it with all of your other furniture that was delivered and already assembled, but you tell people, that's my chair. Don't sit on it, but that is my chair. That chair took me 3 hours to put together. But we can't sit in it. So, but the effort says it was worth it. So I'm going to display my work. I worked at a job for 30 years. So that meant I was a good employee. No, it doesn't. It just meant you went to a place and you didn't get fired and you got a paycheck. If you are not, and I had several of my friends, this is terrible. One guy I was dating, they both were teachers. One guy I was dating, he was trying to get promoted. He wanted to become the assistant principal at the school. So I said, hey, come on over. I'll help you with your resume. Talk about taking shit and turning it into Shinola. It didn't have anything. I mean, I was pulling out of my 4-point contact trying to put some shit together just to make that resume look like something. And the friend that I mentioned with the $200,000 kitchen, her, same thing. I'm like, man, y'all really, how long you been teaching? God, like you ain't got, like you wasn't ever teacher of the month. Like you didn't do anything, like nothing. Like, did you help build something? Nothing at all. And both of them wanted better positions. I mean, I did it. It was woo, man, but it was hard. It was tough. And so they had the thought process was I'm teaching, I'm here with these badass kids all day long, but there was no above and beyond. There was nothing. I was trying to extrapolate any and everything. I was like, okay, so do you have perfect attendance? No, I don't be coming to work on time all the time. Sometimes I'm like, fuck, okay, got it. That's not gonna work. Okay. Are you the top in the school? Do your students have top test scores? Can we get something? And it was nothing. So, but they wanted, just because they didn't like their job and they didn't like dealing with these kids, they wanted credit for that. You don't want chose to be a teacher because you wanted summers off. Just, maybe this is what you're doing and this is what you need to do. So adjust it if you're not getting closer to your goal. So you cannot measure progress by effort bias. You can't say, I've been doing this for so long that I should just be rewarded because I stayed for 30 years and you didn't contribute, you didn't accomplish anything, and you was 70%. No. So you have to measure progress and it has to be sustainable and it has to be improving. Number 4, prioritize your smart effort. Prioritize your smart effort. So use strategies, tools, or help that make your work more effective. Do that. Use systems. Right now, I just started the live with me saying I'm using ChatGPT, Google, and Grok to get this information because it's tailoring it to the things that I need. So use technology that's going to help you. Nola has all kind of tools in the third row of her vehicle. She's got angle bits, bit extenders, all type of hardware, a drill, impact driver, electric screwdriver, sawzall, all kind of saws, manual saws, and everything else. And it makes her doing her work much more efficient. 3 different levels, 4 different stud finders, all these things that make it, screwdrivers, just screwdriver on screwdriver on screwdriver, socket wrench sets, and all these other things, and the socket wrench extension so you can put it on a drill. All these things that make her to be able to do the things that she's doing more efficient and more effective. And so avoid busy work and distractions. Avoid busy work and distractions. And as we know, eliminate distractions is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So eliminate distractions. And I've had to, stop dating people because they were distractions. Like you trying to, because my rule is if anytime I had to do training, it took me a week before to prep for the training and the week of the training. So you're not going to see me for 2 weeks. If that's a problem for you, you cannot see me ever again. But I'm going to get this done because I'm serious about what it is that I do. I'm not going to be standing up in front of a group of people ill prepared because you wanted to kick it. It's not happening. So you can kick rocks. Eliminate distractions. My husband was a distraction, so I eliminated him. Well, hold up, because y'all know I got divorced because then y'all will think he's no longer with us. All right. Number 5. When is your birthday, Dr. Donna? Oh, it's so unfortunate. Thank you for that, Sabrina. But yep, we unfortunately already missed it. It was actually May 10th. So we just woke up, had our live, and missed it. I missed reminding you all. And so, yep, we missed it. I was strategic about that one. We missed it. We sure did. Okay. Thank you for remembering. Too late. Yeah, no, I did that on purpose. We don't, and the reason why, don't type happy birthday before you do, don't. Because remember the story. The reason why we just roll on past my birthday was because every 4 years, my birthday falls on Mother's Day. And throughout my childhood and my entire life, my mother made a big deal about Mother's Day. So I used to take all my birthday money, and my sister had her birthday is in March. She got to spend all her birthday money. But I had to use my birthday money to buy her Mother's Day presents. And then my mother's birthday is December 28th. So I have to use all my Christmas money to buy her Christmas presents. And so for me, those 2 holidays, well, 3, if you count my birthday, I haven't participated in a while, but it's been 3 years where I haven't even remotely done or said anything, because imagine growing up and your entire birthday is made to be reminded of your mother and all her hard work that she didn't fucking do. So I purposely don't, and I don't mention it because how I see birthdays, this is a side note, how I see birthdays is actually a mark of what you're getting ready to do. So it's actually for you to say, what am I getting ready to do for the upcoming year? So I start preparing as I'm transitioning to the next age, closing out 51. Now I'm 52. So what is 52? I told her, and she did. What is 52 going to be about? What is 52? I will receive that, but what is 52 going to be about? So it's a mark for you to say, okay, now I have to do something that I haven't done in the previous year for this year. And so obviously we know 52 is about neuropability for me and getting more people to understand that when you learn how to use your brain, you can learn how to hold yourself personally accountable and you can become your best. So, yes, it's okay. Yeah, so I purposely did it and y'all wasn't even, I slid right on through. Okay, at what age did you know you were a leader? 14, 15 when I was in ROTC. I had the makings of a leader, but I was terrible. I was yelling and cussing and making people feel bad in ROTC. And so since then, I have been a work in progress. All right, number 5, learn and adapt. Learn and adapt. What I had to do when I left the military and went into Frito-Lay was I had to learn a lot quickly because it's different being a civilian than being a soldier. Let me tell you. So learn and adapt. You reflect on what's working and what's not. Whenever we leave an appointment, especially when NOLA was first starting her business in the first 2 years, we did an after action review, what worked, what didn't work, and what can we do to improve. And then we still do that now, but it's kind of effortless. We kind of know when we leave the appointments. And so when I get off lives, I decide what's working, what's not working, and post and everything that I do, I am learning and adapting. I've been live for 561 consecutive days, and the first lives that I was doing on TikTok don't even resemble the lives that we experience currently today. And it is because of the learning and the adapting. And then don't repeat the same actions if they are not producing results. The definition, I'll say that again, don't repeat the same actions if they are not producing results. The definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. When you are learning and adapting, first of all, you are in the frontal lobe, you are in the executive function of your brain, you're taking that information in, you're processing it, and you're making decisions to determine what works and what doesn't work. Because remember, you are achieving, and the goal is the goal. So you're asking yourself, is this working towards my goal? Is this not working towards my goal? Which is why we don't have the yes and no challenge, 30-day yes and no challenge anymore, because it didn't work. It was ineffective, and so it is no longer available to you all. You look refreshed. So 51 leading up to 52 was good for you. Keep rising to the top. Thank you. Okay. I do look refreshed. And because there are things, so it was 3 years. Part of the reason why that is because we talked about Cinco de Slapo. Not going to review that because that information doesn't need to be made public. But May 5th, 2022 is when I stopped and I went no contact with my mother and her husband. And I purged a bunch of stuff. And in the last 3 years, the last 1,090 days and counting, probably like so it was almost like 1,100 days and counting. I've been able to purge. Some of you have witnessed that on the lives and get that out of me. So no contact from toxic people, especially when they gave birth to you and in theory tried to raise you. When you do that, things become lighter, and there was a release for me because it was 3 years of I get to not do something for my birthday and I get to not celebrate a mother who wasn't really mothering. And it's a beautiful experience. So I say losers, and I don't care if they gave birth to you. If they're causing problems and hijacking your amygdala, they got to go so you can grow. All right. The last one is stay committed. Consistency and resilience turns effort into achievement. Consistency and resilience turns effort into achievement. That's how you stay committed. I don't care if you were at your job for 30 years. If you only know how to do your job and nothing else, you are working and you are not achieving. And work is step 1. Okay, it's part of the steps. It's not step 1 because you got to be strategic first. But you work towards achieving a goal. You just happen to be at your own business or a place of employment. But you still need to have a reason why. I tell you all the time, don't do anything without a strategy and always have a why. So when you come back, the shit hits the fan and stuff gets tight, you go back to your why. There are days when I'm physically exhausted from my daughter's business, reading, doing everything else, and I still wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and there's still been a lie for you for 561 days. I have to go back to my why. I have to go back to my why. And my why is there are 6.8 billion adults being personally unaccountable day in and day out. And somebody has to do something about that. We have all this technology and everything has improved: air conditioner, indoor plumbing, AI, all of these other things. And we are still wired for negativity bias. After thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, we still operate the same. And it is because it is neurological. And so I wake up, Neuropability, here you go. I will sleep at some other point. It's just sleep. And yes, I need it, but some days it's not possible to get the right amount of sleep every day for all the amount of things that I have to do. But I get up every day and I stay committed because I want peers. I want people waking up saying, I'm about to give 100%. And I don't really care what these unaccountables say. I want to interact with people who are focused on personal accountability and they have working memories and this exchange that we have. So I give you information, you give me information, and we go off and go do grand things. That's why I keep waking up and doing this, because I'm sick of people complaining. I'm sick of people sitting in comfort zones. I'm sick of people with damn working memories that don't work no more and they don't want to do the work. But you want everybody else to do the work. No, we all have to do the work as an adult population globally. So that is my why. So in summary, work becomes achievement when it's goal driven, measured, and adaptive. Work becomes achievement when it's goal driven, measured, and adaptive. Think smart, act focused, and follow through. Think smart, act focused, and follow through. So, again, what are the ways that you can achieve instead of just working? Number one, set clear goals. Number two, work with a purpose. Number three, measure your progress and don't be using F for bias. That's some bullshit. Look how hard I work. You ain't do shit. Number four, prioritize smart effort. Number five, learn and adapt. And number six, stay committed. Okay, what questions do you have about the steps to go from learning, from achieving, to how to achieve instead of just working? And if you haven't done so, answer the poll question. I'll give you a couple more seconds on that. And if you don't have questions, you can say, wow, who knew that working was a part of achieving and it wasn't this separate thing? So any aha moments, any takeaways for you, you can express that at this time as well. And we're coming around third for those of you who are wondering how much longer is we going to be here. We're going to be here as long as it takes. Close them doors. No, I'm just kidding. Bad Dr. Don. I said close them doors. Stay on your phone. You better stay on this device and answer this question. And remember, if you dot for me, so I know that the chat is still here. The chat is still here. I have no almonds. We got to get the sprouts. Nola said, I have to start focusing on achieving more for quality of life. Yes, ma'am, you do. I agree. And so does the dog next door. They are barking. Let me research that. If I ever took a loss, I learned a lesson. Stop stressing. Not a lot. And then Nola, for you, what did you learn today? And what did you learn about yourself? And then Kevin, are you there? Okay. You addressed my opening comment. Thanks. Did you have anything else that you'd like to add? Man, a few words. You and my child. Yes. Any other thoughts? I addressed it. So was there an aha moment for anybody to go, ooh, okay, got it. At a minimum, you should now understand to stop saying I'm working and start saying achieving. You just make that neurological switch because the brain is wired for negativity bias. It's wired for, there's so much work to do. I wish I could just sit on my ass. Why do I have to work, work, work? Because man, it's not work, man, it's not eat. And you're doing it for your brain. Working is for your brain. Everything I do is kind of effortless, which is why I'm challenging myself to learn more about the brain because now I know my research has led me all the way. I'm like, okay, what if we do this? What if we do this? And then I'm like, oh, it's neurological. Thank you, negativity bias. Sabrina, I need to do separate work and personal, which is my personal goal. What I learned today was the term effort bias. Never heard of the term before. Yes, it's a bunch of biases out there, but people really believe that. They actually think I put all this work into this. That's why people can't get divorced too. It's because we've been married all these years, and that's all y'all been doing. And I think it's interesting that people, when you look back at the wedding photos, there's a size difference. And people think it's just because you get older. I'm 52. I'm old, according to a bunch of medical standards. I have all kind of tests I have to take now just because I'm older. But when you are actively working, not actively working, but when you are achieving, when you are growing and developing, then you don't fluffify. You don't fluffify. So if you find yourself fluffifying, you have to reevaluate what is taking place. You have a sedentary lifestyle. A lot of truck drivers end up being overweight because they sit all the time and they drive. So if you're just seated and not being physically active, you have to make it an effort to do it. But if all you do is work, then it will show. It will aid you. You will feel it. You will need some external stimulation because this thing it's taking up a bunch of your time, but it's not actually fulfilling you. So when you switch to, I am working towards this, and you always have a goal and a strategy, then the work that you do will not feel like work. Kevin said, learn the relations between work and achieving. So work is a step in achieving. It's a step in the process. It's not the process. And I've never met somebody that just works that ends up accomplishing something. And if your last accomplishment was years and years and years ago at your job, you're just working. If you have not, and it's not necessarily people that think they get promoted and that's it. If you're not doing other things, then it's not working. You're not work. You're just working. You're not achieving. I need to separate my personal achievements from my work achievements. Okay. And Nola said, I learned with myself, I am working all the time. Yes, ma'am. We've had this conversation before, but it's amazing that when you're on the lives and you hear it differently, independent, even though I'm the one that's still saying it, it clicks differently for you. I will reveal the results of the poll question as well. Be honest, which one do you do daily? And it's 9 people that voted. 66% said work and 33% said achieve. Achieve. And even if you say I have a lot of work to do, if you then add, because I'm working to have 6.8 billion people learn how to hold themselves personally accountable, or this is the work that I need to do today to work towards accomplishing my goal, it is the language. Word choice matters. It actually does. What you tell yourself matters on the daily basis. And it's not this woosah little stuff, but it literally is, because what you're saying to your brain, and remember, this is all about neural pathways. This is a new neural pathway that you are creating. Stop working, start achieving. So if you just keep saying, oh, it's just work, oh, I gotta go to work, I gotta go to work, then that neural pathway of work is being strengthened. When you say, I'm working today on my live because this exposes a new group of people to neuropability today and in the future. That is the neural pathway of stop working, start achieving. So I am strengthening my achieving neural pathway and I am pruning my work neural pathway. So if you don't use it, you lose it. And you want to lose the work neural pathway. And you want to strengthen the achievement neural pathway. So you say, I'm working on this for my achievement. When I was in college, I'm graduating, I'm going in the Army, my money is tied up in investments, and that's what I'm going to do. And then Kevin, myself, I have to redefine my achievements. Today pointed out things that I am working on that is leading me nowhere. And that's that effort bias. Exactly. So switch, break up with the working neural pathway, go ahead, sit down, have some tea, say, listen, this isn't working out for me. I'm gonna have to let you go. And it's probably gonna be within the next 21 days because it takes 21 days to form a habit, but we gotta break up. And we're not breaking up to make up. We're not doing that. I gotta let you go. It's not been good. Don't really think I'm gonna miss you, but it's time for you to start getting pruned. And every day I'm achieving. If you just start saying I'm achieving for the next 21 days, then the working neural pathways gonna be it might be a little bit of a die-off, but it has to die off in order for you to change your mindset. Because working is part of achieving, but work is stuck and it's making you not look forward to it. And sometimes it's creating a hijacked amygdala, which shuts off access to your frontal lobe. Now your decision making, rational thought, problem solving, cognition, all of that. And it's not part of your personality. Your personality is in the frontal lobe. So to be sitting over there with that hijacked amygdala, remember, negativity, bias, and unaccountable people made work hard because they're lazy. And I wish homeboy had stayed on the live that called me lazy. In the beginning, his last name was Lopez. I think it was David Lopez. They called Dr. Donna lazy as shit. You missed it, Sabrina. Somebody called me lazy as shit on the live. Ah! That was so funny. My dreams work harder than David Lopez. He called me lazy as shit. Okay, roger that. Ooh, you hurt my feelings, David. A couple pounds. Couple pounds. I'm not so much into how much the brain weighs, but how it functions. So I believe it's 67 pounds. Don't quote me on that. It's a couple pounds. Are we trying to go back and forth? Are you here to challenge my intelligence? Is that what you're here to do? I wouldn't do that if I was you. I would advise you not to do that. But you go ahead. How much does the brain weigh? Okay. Again, my objective is to teach you how to use your brain. These are all things that you can actually research. If you'd like to know more about neuropability, go to the 74 Principles of Real Leadership live tab and you will understand more about this. But the direction in which you're traveling is not which I'm speaking about. So what part of did you hear that I said when I say use the brain and the working memory and the executive function and the frontal lobe and the hijacked amygdala, which is located in the limbic system, which is located in the temporal lobe? Because I'm talking about how the brain functions. That's what I'm talking about, how to actually use it, because there is no owner's manual for that. So if you're here to do anything other than what I'm saying, you will be removed. It's summertime, and so people are out of school and all of these things, home, bored, and so we keep. If you're wondering where this influx of unaccountable people are, yes, it's not retrain, it's called rewiring and wiring. So you create new neural pathways through the process of neurogenesis and neuroplasticity. And so you wire your brain. Research used to believe that you couldn't wire your brain or rewire it. You got what you get, and that's what you were born with. But now the neuroscientists have now discovered that you can actually wire your brain. And that process is called neuroplasticity. And I've combined that with the 74 Principles of Real Leadership and created Neuropability. Okay. So see what happens, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to use this person as an example and we can go. Unaccountable people like to attempt to change the conversation. I am talking about working and achieving and accomplishing, and this person does not want to hear that. This person is bored, looking for a dopamine boost, and has woke up this morning and decided they're going to attempt to derail this conversation. As we found out yesterday, unaccountable people need a host. They need a host for their negativity bias. They need a host for their confirmation bias and their conformity bias. They need a host because based upon their beauty bias, age bias, as well as gender bias, they believe that they have landed on a page where they can do this. As we saw yesterday, where the person decided that they thought I was talking about, what is that called? What is that thing? The critical race theory and feminism. And that person soon found out that they were wrong and then said so. And so this person, again, is attempting to do something at all. It has nothing to do. And this is what unaccountable people do. They come in and disrupt to try to distract you and throw you off your square because they are not strategic and they wake up with dumbass plans every single day. I, on the other hand, have notes and have prepared and have 74 principles of real leadership, and I have a why. So them trying to be a thermometer right now is not going to stop me from being a thermostat. They missed a grand opportunity to understand the difference between work as well as, and so now they're going to transition to this because I have called them out. Yet again, still not what the topic is today. And I'm allowing this to take place as an example to you all when you are focused on being personally accountable and becoming your best. There will be unaccountable people that come and see that and don't want that for you because of their negativity bias and because of all of the other things that they have not done. They see that and they go, oh, that's good. Let me go mess with that. Let me taint that. Let me make that not be something positive. But think positive is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, as well as handle conflict when it occurs. So notice that I keep consistently talking about what I'm talking about. And this person has switched. How much does the brain weigh? They've switched to exercise. And now they're on a third tactic, which is what they think I'm talking about. And they don't understand that they're the lesson this morning as we continue to grow through our life and grow continually. So they believe that they are successful right now, and they are not. They don't understand at any given time I can remove them, and I'm actually using them. They think they're hosting on me, but I'm actually using them as an example of what unaccountable people do, because you can't see it. That's why I've never described an unaccountable person before, because they come in all shapes, sizes, and everything else, all different types of ethnicities and everything else, and they exist in the communities in which we reside, and they're hiding in plain sight, making it seem like they're not being unaccountable, but they actually are, because their objective is not to be their best. Their objective is not operate at 100% and focus on fixing them first. Their objective is to derail, disrupt, and tear down. And then they feel successful because they live in a hijacked amygdala state where it's fight, flight, freeze, or appease all day long. They don't even know that they have access to their frontal lobe because it's been shut down. They don't even know that their working memory is unemployed. And so they do this not realizing that it is all of these negative neural pathways that are creating their shit show of an existence that they call life. So they seek these things out to get this nice little dopamine, manufactured dopamine boost, only to go back to their bane existence. That's what is actually taking place. Now, I bet you when you thought you were about to start fucking with me, you had no idea that you were going to get schooled and dragged at the same time, because I am like that. Okay. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time this morning. Go ahead and start having that conversation with your neural pathway of your working memory and say adios, auf Wiedersehen, and all of those other things. So long, sucker, see you later, bye-bye, baby. Kick rocks and miss me with that nonsense. You got to go, hero. That's what you tell that working neural pathway, and say hello to your achieving neural pathway. Stop working, start achieving. I will be back tomorrow, God willing, higher power in the universe, same time, same place, different brain t-shirt. You all go off and have a super duper fly Sunday. Take care.